Good afternoon. The time is 4:59 p.m. I'd like to call to order the December 18th meeting of the Board of Police Commissioners. We have a quorum with Commissioner Collier Clemens and Commissioner Tony Lopez. First item on the agenda is approval of the minutes of November 20th, 2023. Do I have a motion? Both are on mute.
I so move.
Okay, Commissioner Collier Clemens moves the minutes. Any corrections, deletions, or omissions?
None that I see.
None, Mayor.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Next item is public comment. Do we have anybody wishing to address the Police Commission?
If anybody would like to address the commission, you are unmuted. It doesn't appear so, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. We will close public session. Next item on the agenda, recognition of the officers of the month. Chief?
Yes, Mayor, Police Commission. For November 2023, the officer of the month are Sergeant John Taranto, who's with us today, Detective Louis Serrano, Sergeant Matthew Nyquist, and Officer Chris Wazalewski. As we all know, on Saturday, October 28, 2023, Mark Kravarik was operating his motorcycle with his wife, Dawn, as a rear passenger. They had stopped at the stop sign of Bain Street in East Rocks. As they proceeded, they were rear-ended by a vehicle being operated by James O'Byrne. The impact caused both passengers to be thrown from the motorcycle onto the roadway. O'Byrne fled the accident, evading responsibility without rendering assistance or dialing 911. As we all know, Mrs. Kravarik eventually passed from her injuries sustained in the accident, and it was a fatal motor vehicle accident. Open investigation with a fleeing operator who was responsible. Detective Serrano, who was newly promoted a couple months ago, Detective Nyquist, who is now Sergeant Nyquist, Sergeant Taranto, newly promoted sergeant, responded to the scene. Detective Serrano, being the lead investigator, Officer Chris Wazalewski of the traffic unit responded to the scene to begin his role in reconstructing the accident. With limited information on the suspect vehicle, Detective Serrano and Nyquist began a canvass of the area and were able to locate a video of the suspect fleeing the scene on a home security system. With this new piece of evidence, the video was given to neighboring agencies as a bolo. Be on the lookout. The next day, officers from the Wilton Police Department recognized the suspect vehicle and notified our investigators. Serrano and Nyquist responded to the suspect's address forthwith and located the suspect vehicle and the suspect. The suspect, O'Byrne, eventually confessed to the crime. Officer Wazalewski worked through the night and processing the scene was able to locate valuable evidence that was eventually matched to the suspect vehicle. Detective Serrano and Officer Wazalewski completed several search warrants for this investigation, which assisted in gaining additional investigative information. All the participating officers worked as a team to gather all relevant evidence during the investigation. As a result, Detective Serrano was able to secure an arrest warrant for James O'Byrne, charging him with manslaughter, assault second degree, reckless driving, evading responsibility, and several other motor vehicle charges. I wholeheartedly concur with Lieutenant Kevin Margaret's nomination of these officers for November 2023 Officers of the Month. Due to their diligence and professional investigative abilities, they were able to locate and arrest an individual who was responsible for the death of Dawn Kravarik.
Thank you. Yes, that was a tragic event. Ms. Kravarik was a long-term, I believe, 35-year employee of the city of Norwalk, working in the library. I know that there was a lot of concern about this, and being able to identify the operator and bringing the person to answer for his actions brought some relief to the family. I attended the service for the family in Westport, and they were certainly saddened by the incident. It did help them a little bit that the person was brought to justice, and I want to commend all of the officers for remarkable work and their diligence in pursuing this. Another example of just really great police work. Commissioners?
Yeah, I too want to commend the officers for great work and their ability to stay so focused on the ultimate goal of, apprehending the perpetrator. So I too want to commend them. I think it was a wonderful job, and of course it sense closure, and to the family. So I'm happy to hear that part.
Yes, I am too. And I just want to commend each one of the officers and that were involved in getting the information and finding the person responsible and giving closure to that family. You did wonderful work. Thank you so much. We see why you were promoted.
Mayor and Police Commission, John just texted me. He said they're unable to get their microphone to work, so they're better investigators than they are Zoom operators. So, but they send thank you for the recognition. They're him and Detective Serrano are on the same computer.
Okay, thank you.
Good. Thank you very much. I'll have to check in with Toronto and find out what the heck his problem is.
Me too.
Okay, thank you. Next, operations report, Deputy Chief Blake.
Good evening. For November, we finished the month with no vacancies. 191 and a half sick days used, 80 and a quarter workers' compensation days were used. We are luckily getting one of those long-term officers back January 1st, so that's great news.
Yes.
Yes, November 2023, 38 cases in our detective bureau were opened up. You can see the statistics there. Nothing really jumps out. They made that arrest, as the chief just mentioned, and they also arrested an individual off a lengthy investigation using DNA for carrying a pistol without a permit. Special Services opened 46 cases in November. They have many ongoing investigations. They also conducted underage liquor compliance checks that led to 13 referrals to the State Liquor Commission. Special Victims in November 2023 opened up 53 cases. Once again, the majority of those revolve around the school resource officers. They arrested a suspect by warrant who was charged with assault, third, and risk of injury to a minor. And again, they have several ongoing cases. We made 174 arrests in the month of November, and the Patrol Division responded to 5,670 calls, with the 2nd platoon, the day shift, being the busiest shift. Moving on to the SE report, there was 507 stops conducted in the month of November. That is a drop. However, we had a large amount of selective enforcement going on due to various safety concerns and proactive high visibility patrols we were conducting, as well as November heats up for our traffic unit and other division patrol officers that are excuse me, assisting with other outreach events. And we also issued 66 parking tickets during the month of November.
Parking tickets?
Parking tickets. We're getting an inordinate amount of parking complaints around the city. So I just thought you guys might want to just be aware of the fact that we are proactively working on parking violations in the areas that are not patrolled by the parking authority.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Very
just
good.
for, I also get a lot of parking complaints, so I know what you're talking about. So thank you for doing that. Anything else? Any questions by the commission? Okay. Next, we have Community Affairs, Deputy Chief Dinho, I believe.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Commissioners. For the month of November, the Community Police Services Division, we had major events, several major events, but we will highlight 6 here. The Citizens Police Academy graduation, which culminated, and after starting in October, we had a coffee with a cop at McDonald's at Main Avenue, which was very well received. Veterans Day ceremony at City Hall, and we had three turkey giveaway events at different locations. Stu Leonard's with the Salvation Army and the Norwalk Housing Authority. We had 2 Stuffa Cruiser events. The last 2, we had two Stuffa Cruiser events at Walmart on Main Avenue. Both events, the citizens of Norwalk were extremely generous to our community policing officers and have donated a large amount of new toys, which were then given away this month. And we had a tree lighting event on Washington Street. For our traffic unit, November data is we had a total of 153 motor vehicle stops. And they also had a commercial truck enforcement operation joint with the Connecticut DMV police. The major selective enforcement locations in the city of Norwalk were Winfield Street, Riverside Avenue, East Avenue, East Rocks and Bain, Newtown and Cranberry, and Connecticut Avenue. And these again are based from statistics compiled from the Yukon Traffic Crash Repository for accidents and as well as resident complaints. Our behavioral health unit opened 42 cases in November. They received 3 from outside agencies. Cases addressed were all 42 were addressed. Cases closed were 26. They had 2 self-initiated and 37 were referrals from inside the police department. For the training report, I believe we have successfully addressed the printout issue with our current new software vendor.
Mhm.
They were able to make it look as similar as possible to our previous printouts, which we were getting from our next-gen LIAS software. So it is still quite lengthy as we are heavy into our recertification and training cycle.
Any questions from the commission?
No, I have no questions. This is a very good report. And thank you so much. This helps a lot. It
Yes,
makes it a lot easier for us to, well, for me anyway, see what courses and who's there. I've just got one question on this commercial truck enforcement operation, the major selective enforcement locations. What actually do you do, or what did you do?
So the 2 separate, the major selective enforcement locations, we send officers out throughout the month to locations which show that there are motor vehicle accidents occurring in these areas, and that information comes from the Yukon Crash Repository. And then we also send out officers in response to resident complaints. Separately from that, an event the traffic unit has is they had a joint operation with the Connecticut DMV police, and what they do is truck enforcement. So what happens is we get a lot of complaints also from heavy commercial motor vehicles coming through town. And so what they do is we in conjunction with the DMV police, they stop these heavy over the road vehicles and they do inspections on them to make sure that they are operating safely and in compliance with Connecticut state statutes.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Any further questions?
I have none.
Okay, thank you. Now it brings us to the administration report. Deputy Chief Lepore.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. I'm not sure if you can see me. I was having problems with my computer, just like Sergeant Toronto. So I'm on my cell phone. Can you guys?
Okay,
I'm not sure.
We can hear you. We
Okay.
we can hear you. That's more important right now.
So for the administrative report for the month of November, for our DUI grant was approved by the Common Council on December 12th. And the hires continue through the holiday season. So I'll have some stats for you after January for next meeting. The auto theft grant, we also have the remaining funds that are being used through the end of the year. For staff inspections, we have the property unit was completed, the physical audit was done, and we're just waiting for the written final report. But through the physical audit, there were no major discrepancies found, just a verbal confirmation for that. And then for year end, we'll have the Detective Bureau and Special Services, their cash audits will be scheduled, and they are going to take place within the next week or 2. For the crime scene unit, we had 106 people fingerprinted. With that, 41 of them were for pistol permits. 28 DVDs were created for case requests. 14 cases were processed for evidence, and 87, yes, patrol cameras were developed and downloaded for crime scenes. In the professional standards and accreditation, the Detective Bureau test promotional exam was announced, and the reading list and everything was sent out. The promotional exam is scheduled for February. And as of last week, we had 4 officers that were signed up to take it. Also with professional standards, the CJIS, which is the Criminal Justice Information System, is going electronic. So what that means is any of the forms and everything that we have to submit to court for people arrested or anything, any of the property and the court processing forms, they're all going to be electronic now. So we've been working with NextGen and CJIS trying to get the electronics implemented and all the software and the training to go along with it. Eventually, we'll also be getting the submissions for body camera and any type of third-party video will be also done electronically. So nobody will be playing like the FedEx driver getting stuff to Stanford Court. So they're streamlining that. Yep, it's great actually. Body and dashboard cameras, all our dashboard cameras are out. Minimal troubleshooting we've been doing. We had 2 that had to be sent back for repair and they were replaced, no charge by Axon. And for FOI requests, we had 24 new requests for videos. And as of last time, we were preparing for our 3rd year on site, which is scheduled for March, which is going to be conducted via Power DMS, and we're in good shape for that.
On the dashboard or the request for the videos, what's the charge for that again?
It's $5 per disc.
It's $5.
Yes.
So that doesn't, does that involve a lot of staff time as well?
It could. It depends on how many videos are consistent with each case. And now that we've had dashboard cameras, so we used to have just 1 body camera, 1 or 2 for a case, but now we have at least however many officers are on scene. Plus we've doubled it because we are adding the dashboard cameras too. So when we have to do redactions, yes, it is time consuming and it is manpower. And yes.
Is that $5 the maximum allowable by state statute?
No, not at all.
Maybe we can take a look into that, maybe try to analyze just the total that it costs, what it costs the city, both in terms of manpower and the material, and maybe adjust that. It seems awful low.
Mayor, I've already begun discussions in the very infant stage with Corporation Council to review all our fees for FOI. And we'll probably, after the new year, come up with a new fee schedule.
Good. Okay, good. Thank you, Chief. Any questions from the commission?
That was a question I was about to ask. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay.
For reading my mind.
Uh-oh, that's scary that we're getting that close. Commissioner Lopez, any?
No, I have no comments, no questions.
I like the idea of the inspections being included. Now, for accreditation, how often do we have to inspect each division? If you I don't recall.
Well, within our cycle, our 4-year accreditation cycle, every department in our every division in our department has to be inspected at least once. So we actually have a calendar schedule of how which year which department goes and then which one, like what month it's in. But property is an annual and also an unannounced inspection. So they get twice a year just to make sure.
Yeah, I like that new part of the report. I think it's very helpful to us.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, if there's no other questions, next that brings us to bachelor's degree stipend for Officer Quinn Scarpelli.
Yes.
And a master's degree stipend for Officer Quinn Scarpelli.
Yes, he has written a memo. One of the new officers that we hired last month with a lateral transfer to Norwalk. Good officer so far, still on FTO, finishing in a couple weeks, doing great. He has presented documents from the State University of New York, Bachelor of Arts in Homeland Security, Cybersecurity, Emergency Management with a concentration in Homeland Security. He graduated in May 2019. In May of 2022, he graduated from Maritime College with a master's degree. He received a degree and majored in International Transportation Management. And he has included all the paperwork and his registrar transcripts from both universities in the package here review.
Is he requesting a stipend for bachelors and masters?
Yes.
I thought you only get like if you have a master's, obviously you have a bachelor's, you only get the master's. Am I correct in that, or?
Well, the bachelor's is one fee, it's lower, it's one stipend, but if you have.
Right.
He won't get both combined. He'll get, I think he's just showing the chronological order of his, so he'll get the max only one stipend
Oh,
for,
so he'll only get a stipend for master's degree.
yes.
Okay, because it says a bachelor's degree stipend on the agenda.
Oh,
Well,
okay.
let me ask this, when he was hired, he had the bachelor's degree already, right?
Yes.
So did we give him a stipend for that?
No, because
was high.
we've gone through this previously with other police commissions when we've onboarded hires. And due to the fact that it's a contractual benefit, it still has to be voted on by the commission. So this will be retroactively paid to him from his start date. They break it down by the week.
So the bachelor's stipend will be paid retroactively up until today when we approve his master's stipend?
No, he's gonna get one stipend for masters in totality, which
Okay,
will be paid retroactively, and they break it down in payments throughout the year.
So, yeah, and the master's stipend is how much?
1,500?
a year?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, they give it weekly, I think, into the paycheck.
It's calculated, yes.
Yeah. Because it is also counted towards your pension.
It goes into your wage, yes.
Okay, so I'm sure they'll do the right calculations.
Yes, I'll speak to Mr. Dosmore, our business manager, and we'll take care of that, Commissioner.
Okay. Thank you.
So I'll need a motion to.
So how do we approve the motion with the specifics that chief is gonna check into?
Oh, that's what I was gonna say. We don't need to put an amount in. We can just note that we approve a master's degree stipend for Officer Quinn Scarpelli. And take no action on the bachelor's degree.
I don't think that's right.
When was he hired?
5 weeks ago, 6 weeks ago?
Yeah. So he was hired 5 or 6 weeks ago.
Oh,
And he had-
okay,
Yeah,
okay,
and
I
he had
got
the master's already. Yeah.
you. Okay, all right.
So I need a motion
ready.
to, yeah, okay. Somebody will need to make the motion then.
I move approval of the stipend for a master's degree for Quinn Scarpelli.
Any further questions or discussion?
I have none.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Chief, complimentary letters?
Yes, from the Norwalk Housing Authority, Mrs. Roger, for Sal Calise and his community policing team that include Lieutenant Pogorski, Sergeant Everts, Hector, Max, Russell Lett. On behalf of Norwalk Housing Authority families and staff, please accept our sincerest thanks for all the help and support offered personally by you, your team, and the Norwalk Police Department for Norwalk Housing Authority's 2023 Thanksgiving Turkey Giveaway. That was at Vets Park this year, and it was quite a traffic event, and they gave away hundreds of turkeys. We can't thank you enough. In a total, 380 Norwalk Housing Authority households received turkeys and bags of fixings in just under 2 hours in Veterans Park on November 21st. They were a group of 83 volunteers participated throughout the day, representing 20 organizations and local businesses, and several individuals were on hand throughout the day. Plus, they were also grateful for the porta potty and the outdoor heaters that we had assisted with, and they wanted to share their feedback for our involvement. It's an event that we participate every single day. It's a good partnership with Norwalk Housing Authority.
Thank you. And next,
To this is for Officer Equi. She is one of our new higher advanced accident investigators. And so she's been taking some of the higher end accident investigators. And this is a letter of support from a family member that had written to Officer Equi when they had a family member die in a car accident 2 months ago that she investigated, and she showed a lot of empathy and a lot of communication to the family member in dealing with that tragic situation. And this was a note that they had written her just to acknowledge her response to the family and the empathy that she had showed.
Thank you. And my thanks and congratulations to all the officers. One thing I do want to say, I really appreciate the police department's participation in the events around the city, the menorah lightings and the Christmas tree lightings. You know, in view of what's happening around the world, the people attending those events felt very comfortable seeing the officers there. And I have to tell you, the officers were amazing as far as interacting with the people that were in attendance. They actually, I think they actually enjoyed being there. And it was really very, very, very comforting to the people in attendance. So if you can express my thanks to them as well. Commissioners?
I wanted to actually say that it was wonderful that we have, for example, the housing authority indicate that they were close to closing there. And if it wasn't for the Norwalk Police Department stepping up to the plate, I mean, that's pretty big. And I think it reflects the desire to have a presence and support the community that they work in.
Well, I'm so glad that the residents take the time to write these letters to let us know how much they appreciate the help that the department gives, because, you know, you do it because you do it and that's what you've been trained to do, and you're compassionate and you care about your community that you're serving. But it's another thing for them to take the time to tell you thank you and how much it meant to them. And I also want to say to the chief and the deputy chiefs, I really thank you for the work that you put into your department reports each month. They're getting better and better. We're getting more information and they're pertinent, and you're doing a great job. Thank you so much in responding to my little quirks of requests.
Mayor, should we put you on the list of power outages?
I know. I was just
Thank you,
You know-
Commissioner Clements. It's greatly appreciated.
sometimes when I'm sitting at my desk and going through my emails, all I'm moving is my mouse and the light goes out. And then I have to wave my hands around to turn the light on. It's got a motion detector. But anyway, I hope Toronto didn't see that. Okay. So the next meeting is January 22nd, 2024. Before we close, I want to wish everyone a very Merry Christmas and a joyous, peaceful, healthy, prosperous 2024
Thank you very
Thank you.
much.
Merry Christmas and
Thank
Happy
you,
New Year.
Mayor.
Happy holidays.
Likewise to
Merry Christmas to
everybody.
everybody.
Yes.
And,
likewise.
and now I'll need a motion to adjourn.
I move to adjourn.
We are adjourned at 5:27. Thank you.
God bless
Thank you.
everybody.
Have a good night. Happy holidays, everyone.
Happy
Thank you.
holiday. Happy New Year too.